Alright, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome back to the Small Brain Pilot channel. I'm sure you guys missed me, and if you didn't, too bad, you better miss me. I've been gone for a few weeks, I've been busy with some real life stuff, trying to get exams done. But, anyways, they're over now. It's time for some freedom, it's time for some flight sim. And today I'm going to be attempting one of the longest flights I think I've done on the channel and in general in my flight sim career as well. And a flight that means, well, would mean a lot to me, is meaning a lot to me. We're flying all the way over to Islamabad in Pakistan, my home country. But you can see I'm parked here with the Air Canada 787-10, which might make you question, where am I flying from? Well, pretty obvious, Air Canada. We're parked here today at Toronto Pearson International Airport, and we're going to be having about a roughly 13-hour flight, depending on winds, all the way over to Pakistan, to Islamabad International. So it's going to be a fun one. It's going to be quite a long flight. So it's local times around 8:45 a.m. Without further ado, I'm going to get right into the walk around and we can get this video underway. Alright, ladies and gents, here we are in the cockpit of the Boeing 787-10 rocking the Air Canada livery. ADC's in the background, gonna have to ignore that. I accidentally turned it on while calling for ground services. As you can see, the temperature at Toronto extremely cold due to the weather. We already have icing conditions on. Because of that, I had to turn on the aircraft on my own. External power is connected, and I turn on the anti-ice systems. Actually, I'm going to switch them to the on position. They're auto right now, but I think it's safe to assume that we need the anti-ice. We can turn on the nav lights and the logo lights, and we can also turn on the IRS as while we're here. Emergency lights are in the on position as was checked. All the window heats are on. I can turn on the packs, and the APU is still off, and the hydraulics and the fuel pumps are still off. So with that being said, while the aircraft's turning on, we can go ahead and get the aircraft configured, get our route inserted into the FMC. So I'm going to go ahead and get the FMC set up, and I will catch you guys once we're ready for APU startup over here at Toronto. All right, ladies and gents, as you can see, the aircraft has been serviced and we have put in, I've gotten the FMC configured. The route is in. Today's total flying distance is going to be 6,124 nautical miles. We're going to be departing off of runway 05 here in Toronto via the Sadog 6 departure and the Bob Sue transition. So as you can see, runway 5, pretty simple taxi, pushback, and just pretty straightforward taxi here. Then we go straight and we take a left bank. We're going to be landing on runway ILS Yankee 28 left in Islamabad via the Calm 1 Alpha arrival. I'll explain more about this arrival when we are near the top of descent or when we're getting near Islamabad. As you can see here on the FMC, the pre-flight is completed, but I'm just going to run through the checklist just so I don't get checklist incomplete warnings as we're about to rotate. Parking brake set, fuel control systems, and off. Right, before start checklist, we're going to do this later. With that being said, I think we're ready for APU startup. Yep, flaps 15 on departure today, by the way. Yeah, so for the APU startup, we're going to come up here. I'm going to put all the hydraulics to auto, turn on all the fuel pumps, including the center pumps, come up here and turn on the APU. And we can observe here, once we have the APU running message, we know that the APU is active and ready for us to use. All right, folks, now that we've pushed back, we can now go ahead and proceed with the before start checklist and get our engine started up. So let's see here. Passenger signs. Let's throw in a chime. Yep, passenger signs are set. MCP speeds. So our V2 speed today is 168 knots. So sorry, I don't mean to press that. Okay, let me just set that 168. There we go. We're taking off runway 05 today. So let me just put in the heading bug 050. I'm just assuming that's the runway heading. I'm too lazy to check the charts. Also, I don't have access to the charts because I don't have a Navigraph subscription, but it's okay. It's going to gloss over that fact. 050. And cruise altitude today is, I need to check SimBrief for this. Cruise altitude is 33,000 feet initially before we're going to step up. So let me set that. 33,000 feet. There we go. That's set. MCP is set. Takeoff speeds are set. CDU pre-flight has been completed. Trim. So we're going to be having trim 6.5 nose down trim on takeoff. So let's just quickly set that up. There we go, 6.5 trim set. Taxi and takeoff briefing, already done that with you guys. That's set. Beacon lights can go on. I'm also just going to turn on the taxi lights. Alright, with that being said, we're ready for engine start, so let's go ahead and get that done. Since the 787 does not have an APU bleed system, we can get both engines started at the same time. So we're just going to flick both starters to the start position. We can come down here and observe our engines page. You can see that the N2 is rising. N3 is rising, N2, everything's looking good. Once N2 crosses the 150 mark, we're going to throw in the fuel. And both engines should now start up successfully. And while we wait for the engines to start up, we can also set flaps for departure. So like I said, we're using flaps 15. So flaps 1, 5, 10, and 15. There we go, flap set. As the flaps slot into position and the taxi lights are on, and we've had 2 successful engine starts, with that being said, I'm going to come up here, turn off the APU first, and then with that being said, folks, we are ready to get ourselves taxied over to the runway. So before that, LNAV, oops, autopilot on, flight directors on, LNAV, WNAV. There we go. Okay, now we are ready to taxi over to the runway, so I'm going to go ahead and get ourselves taxied over to runway 05, and I'll catch you guys once we're ready for departure out of Toronto.
Bienvenue à bord d'Air Canada. Pour votre sécurité et votre confort, nous vous prions d'écouter attentivement cette brève vidéo.
For your safety and comfort, we ask that you pay attention to this short video. Please place baggage in the overhead bin and heavier items under the seat in front of you.
Veuillez ranger les bagages dans les coffres supérieurs et les bagages plus lourds sous le siège devant vous. En prévision du décollage, asseyez-vous confortablement, redressez le dossier de votre siège et rangez votre tablette.
In preparation for takeoff, make sure you're comfortably seated with your seat back upright and tray table stowed. For your safety, you must wear your seatbelt when the seatbelt light is...
Alright, ladies and gents, I'm just gonna intercede here and let you guys know that I've made it to the departure, well, to the runway threshold, runway 05, but as you can see, quite a lot of traffic going out of Toronto right now. We have a Boeing 737 MAX, I believe, there for WestJet. There's an Aeromexico 737 MAX, and then there's another WestJet 737-800, and I am 4th in line for departure. So I'll catch you guys once it's our turn and we're lined up on the runway, ready for departure out of Toronto. Alright, ladies and gents, as you just saw, the WestJet 737 has just departed out of Toronto, runway 05. With that being said, we are cleared to line up for runway 05 and immediate takeoff. There is no traffic on final, no one else. I'm the next in line. As you can see, I have all the lights are on, landing lights, strobes, and turn-offs, and the beacon nav. All the lights are on. The aircraft is as lit up as it can get. We have flaps set, trim set, no warnings after takeoff checklist is complete as the flaps are set. LNAV and WNAV is armed. That's it, folks. I think we've ticked all the boxes. Now the only box left to tick is get this big bird into the air and travel over 13 hours towards Islamabad in Pakistan. It's going to be quite a long flight, but it's going to be a fun one in the 787-10. It looks like a spaceship. It's time to get this spaceship to Pakistan. All right, I'm nervous. I am actually so nervous, guys. I don't know. I'm going to have face cam next time so you guys can see, but I am actually so excited for this flight. 13 hours. Here we go. Lined up on the runway. Throttles up, 50. Aircraft engine spooling nicely. No warnings, no issues. Continue. Toga. Thrust set. Oh, you can hear those engines roar to life. Off to the left side, you can see the FedEx hangar there as well. Beautiful scenery here by FlyTampa, I must say. But anyways, I'm going to focus on this departure right now. We're rolling. 80 knots. Check. Trying to keep the center line. Don't want to veer off too much to one side. Accelerating nicely. There you go. Almost there. V1. And let's gently just rotate. Lift the bird into the air. Don't want to have a tail strike. Come on. Positive rate of climb. Gear up. Gear is up. Alright. Let's ease off on the climb. Follow the flight directors. That has been a beautiful departure out of Toronto. Though it was a bit late there towards the end. But it's okay. Here we go. We've departed out of Toronto. Following the flight directors. Turning left here with the left bank. Alright, folks. So with that being said, we've departed successfully out of Toronto. I'm going to get the aircraft. I'm going to hand fly this aircraft because I won't get to do flying for another 13 hours. Hope you guys enjoy the views, and I'll catch you guys once we're on short final, about to land at Islamabad International Airport in Pakistan. Happy flying. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the flight deck of this Air Canada 787. We are right now over the Himalayas, about 130 nautical miles away from Islamabad. We are about to begin our descent, and before we do, let's just go with the descent checklist. Recall, checked. Auto brake, we're going to use auto brake 2 today in Islamabad. Landing data, VREF and minimums. Let's go to reference. We're going to be using flaps 30 and a final approach speed of 149 because 144 plus 5. Landed at check. Approach briefing. So we're coming in on ILS 1228 left, sorry, via the Yankee approach. And yeah, it's a pretty direct arrival, so we're just going to be doing that. Approach briefing completed. Straightforward. Anyways, we're at 40,000 feet. We got to get down to 3,700. So let's set that into the MCP. There we go. 37. Go to VNAV. And let's get our descent started. Descent now. Execute. Alright, so now we're descending towards Islamabad from 40,000 feet. Another 30 minutes later, we're going to be on short final. So I'll see you guys once we're on short final into Islamabad International Airport. Alright, ladies and gents, here we are on short final into Islamabad. I can just see the runway lights over this. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the autopilot because after 13 hours of flying, I want to be flying in this aircraft manually. Autopilot has been disconnected. Auto throttle is still in. Alright, I see the runway. We're coming in decent on the glide slope. We're aligned with the center line. I'm not using the HUD because of the low visibility conditions. I feel like the HUD will block out more of my view. There's the runway threshold, folks. About 13 hours of flying later. 13 hours and 26 minutes of flying later. Here we are in the final minutes of our flight. I'm going to go shush as I want to really butter the bread. And hopefully we can get a greaser here into Islamabad. Alright. Just adjust. We're pretty decent on the glide slope. Okay, stable. Coming high. I'm gonna take out the auto throttle. And that is pretty smooth, I'd say. Standard landing according to G's. I'd say it was a bit smooth. We had a dodgy center line, but after 13 hours, nearly 14 hours, I'd say I'd rather have a bad center line than a bad landing. 60 knots, reverses in, and we're going to take the high speed over here to the right. Alright, folks, with that being said, welcome to Islamabad International Airport in Pakistan. We've made it. The flight seems to be really laggy a bit, but yeah, I guess 14 hours of continuous running isn't going to do it any favors. But anyways, yep, I've exited the runway successfully. I'm going to clean up the aircraft and get ourselves taxied on over to the gate here at Islamabad. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we've made it here to the stand at Islamabad, and ironically, we got stand number 21. Our flight number today is Air Canada 021, and we're parked on stand 21 here in Islamabad. Anyways, as you can see, the APU is running, so we can go ahead and get the engine shut off. We can turn off all the taxi lights, turn off the beacon light, turn off the wing lights while we're here, and then cut off fuel to the engines. And just like that, folks, our engines are now spooling down, and we have successfully shut down the aircraft at the gate after 13 minutes and 13 hours and approximately 13 hours and 50 minutes of flying. I can say 14 hours. One of my longest flights in the sim, and we have successfully shut down the engines after a safe and smooth landing at Islamabad International Airport. Alright, folks, and as the jetway is coming in, I think it is time to now conclude this video. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for bearing with me for the long break of 2 weeks. Hopefully, videos uploads are going to be a bit more consistent now going forward. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, remember to leave a like, subscribe, comment, and just tell me what routes I should do next. So, folks, thank you for choosing Small Brain Pilot. We hope you've had a safe flight with us. Happy flying. Bye bye. Allah Hafiz. Have a safe one, folks.